Hi MNO Squad, quick tips and video on the difference between Xero and QuickBooks. I have been asked this question over and over by most of my clients, so I'm going to answer this in a very short amount of time now. So first thing first is the VAT and MTD compliance. So MTD compliance is very much for UK client. When it comes to QuickBooks is HMRC recognized, and then you can easily file your VAT really directly in there. That's the same thing as well for Xero. It is HMRC recognized, so you can file your VAT directly in there following the MTD compliance. When it comes to complex VAT, I'd say Xero wins here. Xero is much better filing any complex VAT, for example, partial exemption, etc. So I found it a lot easier to do this directly in Xero. So next comparison is in terms of the payroll. So for the payroll, QuickBooks really wins here. I find that QuickBooks is much better when I'm filing my UK client. QuickBooks is more advanced, and then it's HMRC RTR compliant, which is really great. Payroll in Xero is not that great. Usually I would use an external application for any of my clients who are in Xero. I don't really use payroll in Xero at all. So the next difference that I had in mind was to do with the popularity within us accountants. So QuickBooks is really more for businesses. Usually if I have a client in QuickBooks, is because they had used QuickBooks before joining MNL, then I will just leave them in there. It's usually sole trader or very small businesses. They are really attracted by the pricing. And then Xero on the other hand, if I have a client starting afresh, I would straight away advise them to use Xero, then I'll add them into my portfolio. So because Xero is much more easy to use for the reason that I'm going to show you now next. For the bank feed and reconciliation, they both have a good bank feed. They are supporting multiple banks all around the world. But what I find is that in terms of the reconciliation, Xero wins here because when you are reconciling and then maybe you made a mistake, you want to reconcile, you can easily do this in Xero without messing up everything. And when you do this in QuickBooks, all hell breaks loose. It's really a problem. So I'd say Xero wins for bank reconciliation. In terms of the pricing, as I said earlier, QuickBooks is usually attracting small businesses because you have so many discounts. It's so much easy to use for them. And then the money really is more attractive for that. And then for Xero, it's slightly different for that. So you have a steady pricing. They really rarely would make any sort of discounts, but it is more steady and then more reliable overall. So what is the final verdict? The final verdict is that for QuickBooks, you can choose you can choose QuickBooks online if you're a sole trader, you're a small business, and maybe you want a built-in payroll. Go for QuickBooks. If you want a cheaper entry-level pricing as well, you can go for that. You can choose Xero if you prefer simpler bank reconciliation. You need unlimited users as well. You can choose Xero, and if your accountant is using Xero, just go for it. Just use Xero as well because it will make your life a lot easier in the long run. You will pay less in terms of the bank reconciliation because the reconciliation is much more easier in Xero. I hope that video helped, and please make sure you subscribe for more video.